Hi, yeah, my name's Roy Horobin. I'm a local resident. I live just a couple of minutes from where we are now. And the reason we're here is we've lost our blue flag. We need it back. What I am really worried about, and it's only sort of started to hit me in the last few months, literally that recently, is if suddenly this Cleethorpes gets a reputation as unsafe water, dirty water, that surely why would you come from Sheffield? Why would you come from other parts of the country when people do to Cleethorpes? And I'm just looking, stood here on Brighton Slipway, just looking along, and yeah, not everything I see is dependent upon tourism. No, not at all. But it's a very significant part of the businesses, a lot of those businesses I can see right now. Anything that's not possible to do is not possible to do. But what's happened for decades is that a situation's been sat upon, and in the last few years, Sulemi and Fergal Sharkey has led a national campaign. It is a national problem, yes, but we have a problem here. We've lost our blue flag. We need it back. So we need to be taking action now so that we can get the blue flag back. Action now so that we can get these problems sorted. You know, there are maps which you can easily see from the Rivers Trust which show there are 3 outflows up there, 3 outflows down there. And again, you know, that nothing can be solved overnight, but it can't be kicked back. It needs to be dealt with, and Anglian Water have a responsibility to stop sewage going into our seas and our rivers. So, well, I suppose what I'm trying to say is that within the last few weeks there was a really good protest down here on the beach that I just turned up to, but in the last few sort of weeks, maybe last few months, there's this sort of growing awareness in Cleethorpes, and people are coming together and taking action. So what we need to find out, like I say, is what the problems are, and then the council needs to put pressure. It's great that the Liberal Democrats have published that plan. It's great that the Liberal Democrats have sort of put forward a petition. It's great that the local Labour Party are flagging this up. I would say to, you know, our Conservative council, take action. Don't see this as an attack, but take action. And again, you know, if our local MPs, if our council, you know, with good evidence-based arguments put pressure, we're going to be able to get our blue flag back, and we're going to be able to work towards a solution, which may take, an ultimate solution may take 5-10 years perhaps, but we can start taking action now, and that's what we need to do. I just took the blue flag for granted, and it was a shock to me when it went, and then it's something now that, because of the action that local people are taking, it's really making me think. And I would urge all Cleethorpes residents, you know, to get actively involved in this, sign any petitions there are to sign, you know, turn up to meetings, turn up to protests, make that feeling known, because yeah, Anglian Water have to solve this problem. They can't expect to solve it, you know, in 24 hours, but they have to solve it. That one of the problems is that the situation is not entirely clear. So nationally, we know that water authorities aren't always reporting things reliably. There's an increasing pressure for them to do that, and they're responding to that. Locally, I think one of our biggest issues is we're not entirely sure of what the situation is. And so what's coming out of the conversations that people are having locally in Cleethorpes is that let's research this. And you know, going back to what I said about citizen science, it could well be that local people sample the water like they have done in other parts of the country. That's then analysed so we can find out, and that's then used to apply further pressure. So we know there's a problem, and we know that the last summer swimmers were told not to swim. But it's getting that, it's an evidence-based approach that we're after. And again, it's not about, you know, shouting and bawling at Anglian Water. It's not about shouting and bawling at our council. It's about identifying the problem, what the solutions are, and then driving to make that change happen. It's one of the dangers with water quality is just sort of being fatalistic about it and thinking, oh, you know, this is a national problem. It costs billions to resolve this problem nationally. Therefore, what can we do by, you know, signing a petition, attending a meeting? But I'd urge people not to think like that, and I'd urge our political representatives not to think like that. We do have to take action, and by applying pressure locally, by researching what's going on locally, we can get our blue flag back, and we can ultimately move to solving the problem. Because yes, once we've identified the problem, Anglian Water have to fix it. What action is taken by Anglian Water, what action is taken by the national government, that's up to those organisations. They will respond if the pressure's there. Same with everything. If there is sufficient pressure, a solution comes. It's that simple.
So the Blue Flag Award's really, really valuable for the resort because it gives tourists and visitors the confidence that the water quality is good in our area. So from a business owner, having that award is really sort of prestigious, and it helps promote what we do and promote our activity in the sea. Okay, so this year, North East Links didn't apply for the Blue Flag this year, and this summer we've had quite a lot of sewage overflows into the river that have given us some do not bathe alerts, basically. So as a business owner, how do you expect people to want to come and go paddleboarding, to do our cold water dips, to do beach schools with the kids when there's a sewage alert in the sea? It's just impossible. You just can't offer that to clients. So the sewage alert means that really, and they do not swim, is that there's high levels of E. coli in the water, which basically, if you swallow that and it gets in your system, it makes you sick, you get sickness and diarrhoea. Not really great for tourism or business. So there's a number of ways, so it's all very public. So Beach Safety put up water alerts, Surfers Against Sewage have an interactive sewage map, and it is a national problem this year. And some of it is due to the legislation where the government have continued to allow water companies to overspill after bad weather. Yeah. So the information's all out there. So if we know there's a water alert on, so the one over August bank holiday was over 4 days. So that's a key holiday period. It was on for 4 days. The tides were amazingly brilliant, and basically we just had to cancel. It's like, I can't risk people paddleboards falling in the sea, getting sick. What are they going to do? Are they going to sue me? It's just not nice, isn't it? It's not what you want from your holiday experience. Yeah, absolutely. So every session we lose, we're losing money. We've had quite a large team of freelance employees and staff that we've had to cancel, so they've lost earnings as well. In the summer, we had a number of funded lottery projects to work with young people and families, and then we had to cancel those because of that. So that included beach school activities. So we probably lost about $4,000 over the summer through cancelled sessions that were funded, and it's just like, it's just how you're letting people down. Sessions that can't be rescheduled because then the kids are all back at school and the tides are all wrong. It's just absolutely appalling. Yeah, so in the winter, part of the this is again part of the way that the water quality is monitored. So in the winter season, the water quality isn't monitored at all, so we don't really know. Now, we might say, well, people don't use the sea in the winter, but actually that's not true. So for example, we've got a full moon cold water dip in December. We've got one in January. We've got a Boxing Day paddle. So we're doing lots of activity in the sea still. We're still running beach schools now with some families, out of school clubs where we use the beach. So actually knowing what the water quality is really, really important, and that's something that isn't publicised over the winter.
I think the main hit back against it is it's either in the water or it's coming up your own home. So what would you sort of counter if someone were to say that?
Absolutely, and this was the issue that was brought up last year when we were on national news about the same issue. So basically, the water companies that are saying there's too much shit. Basically, there's too much waste. We haven't got the infrastructure in place. Yeah, if you look at the profits for those companies that are all going to CEOs and directors, they're absolutely massive. So rather than having this system where we have the overspill so that it protects our homes from being flooded, it's like, so why aren't we challenging the water companies to actually improve their system so that they can cope with an increase in population? Because it's only going to get bigger, and the problem is only going to get bigger. It is. It's like Cleethorpes is the most amazing seaside tourist resort. Yeah, and if the problem with the water quality is going to go on, so every time we get heavy rain, which we're getting more and more with climate change, that we get these overspills, and specifically the E. coli into our Cleethorpes beach and the seas, how can we be a seaside resort? So one of the things that we've done, so I've met with councillors, we're arranging another meeting in December to talk to councillors, and what we really want the council to do is to start challenging the local companies around us, the water companies, to how are we going to solve this problem. We're looking for a solution, really, because long term it's just not ideal for anyone. It's not ideal for the kids, it's not ideal for the people who want to swim in the sea, paddleboard, it's not ideal for local businesses, because people just won't come to a town when they know that the water quality is not good. So I think from the whole of the promenade and the areas that down here, you've got other companies, you've got Ebb and Flow who do paddleboard, you've got Reef Rash who are a water sports centre, you've got the local chip shops, the Leaking Boot, you've got Willys as well. So it is, we're attracting people to come here who might be put off if it's like, oh, let's go paddleboarding on Cleethorpes Beach and then go for fish and chips, go for an ice cream. And it's like, well, actually, the water alert's rubbish, let's go inland instead. So they're just going to choose to go to different places. So my background is really about environment, education, getting people really passionate about the sea, looking after the environment, and here we are in an environment that isn't very good.
So obviously there was your protest the other week, the Mexican wave. How did that kickstart the movement?
Okay, so we did a protest on the beach the other day, which was part of a Respect the Wave campaign and part of Reclaim the Seas. And that protest is really just about the whole health of our seas all around the country. And it's not just pollution, there's other issues as well. So things like dredging causes problems, and with the wildlife and the natural habitat, the fauna and the flora. So we've seen big examples all the way up the northeast coast of like mass die-offs of animals and creatures. So here on the beach, again, we're monitoring what's going on. So there's been some dead seals, the young seal pups. There's been we had an incident pre-COVID when there's like thousands of starfish all washed up. So it's kind of unusual circumstances where we're getting mass die-offs of creatures, and part of it is like the environment they're living in is not good. So water quality, disruptions, that all add on to the bigger problem. So as well as like things like climate change, which is causing bigger waves and tides and things. So we've just got a real issue here with what we're doing with our environment. How do we protect it? How do we protect it for everyone? Not just humans who use the beach, but all the fauna and flora as well.